Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Heart and Soul Connected. Today, I am doing a taping of some information I've been working on the Magician, the first card in the Tarot series. Some people say that the first card is the Fool, but the first card is the Fool is a 0. So the Fool can go before or it can go at the end of all of these cards um, in the decks, in the major arcana deck that I'm going to be doing. I want you to note that I'm using the Rider-Waite cards just because of simplicity. I've had these cards for a very long time and I feel very comfortable with them. And so I'm not going to pretend to know everything about this tarot card because I believe everybody has different inspirations that bring them to their work. But I do have a lot of interest in Carl Jung, Jung, archetypal psychology. He was a wonderful therapist. He was the one that brought us the collective unconscious idea, and also the one that has spoken on synchronicities and how two seemingly unrelated things come together at a point, and there is no explanation for it. It's simply synchronicity. So again, I'm not proposing to be the expert on this. I'm just going to have a little bit of fun with it, and I hope you enjoy it as well. And if you think that this is an interesting series, I'll go further. I just wanted to start with the Magician because he is such a fabulous archetype. And we see him all the time in all kinds of places. In some of the Arthurian legends, we see the Magician. We see him, uh, Gandalf, in fantasy. We see him in a lot of different places, and he is the one. And I will say he, she, because we typically think of the Magician as a male, but he doesn't have to be a male. That's just the way that it is positioned in most of our way of thinking. So the Magician in this case is holding up his right hand and holding on to what looks to be a wand. And he's trying to bring down the information from up above, and his left hand points down. That's his spiritual hand, and his left hand points down because he's bringing higher information from up above down below so that we can know it. All of us are on a journey, and all of us go through all of these different situations in our life that make for our story. He is the begin. You could say that this might even be you at the very beginning of finding out about what you wanted to do spiritually or metaphysically. There's a lot of different books out there. People have spent a lot of time analyzing these. I just like the way the archetypes work, so I wanted to make sure that I let you know more about that part of it. What is an archetype, Allie? I don't know what you mean. An archetype is a collection of patterns, thoughts, feelings, images, and behaviors that surround something. If you were to look at, let's say, a princess archetype, Princess Diana personified that princess archetype quite beautifully. She was stately, she was well loved, she was the Queen of Hearts. I don't know that there's another person that could take her place, although perhaps Kate Middleton. I'm not seeing in my mind that Camilla Parker Bowles is going to be, even though she might be the queen consort. She's certainly not that princess archetype. She doesn't have that gentleness and that loving spirit about her. She's very hard from what I see. Anyway, all of these archetypes usually personify themselves into different types of people. Like we have the, we can go from the ridiculous to the sublime. We can have the clown. We can have the dirty old man. We can have we have the magician. We have the politician. We have a lot of different people. And what happens is that they seem to fit that mold so well that we can see them as in a pattern of what that particular archetype is. And we can see that throughout. And we all carry different archetypal patterns in ourselves. And Carolyn Myss, M-Y-S-S, has done a lot of work with archetypes. And I encourage you to read some of her books because they're fabulous and they go into different types of archetypes. For instance, we all carry within us somewhere in our shadow the saboteur archetype. And some of us, it's more strong than others. When you sabotage yourself, you get yourself all set up and working on something, and then you simply either you walk away too soon, or you do something that screws it up. Case in point might be that you've been working hard and you're wanting to do something, and so you've been training for it and working hard at it. And then the day before, for some reason, you twist your ankle or you fall down, or there's some reason why this cannot ever be fulfilled for you. So it isn't really a conscious thing at times. Sometimes these archetypes flow very deeply into our psyches. And of course, I recommend anybody to read some of the more academic and quite voluminous amounts of information on it. I've done a lot of papers on the different types of tarot cards and what they mean, and I've enjoyed myself a great deal. So I just decided that I was going to start from the Magician and go on and see if there was anything that you didn't know, or you felt comfortable with, or you wanted to talk about, because I think that everybody, like I say, has got different ways of looking at it. So in this, I want you to notice this is called the Lemnas Gate. The Lemnas Gate. The Lemnas Gate. It's an infinity symbol that rises above his head, and in that, perhaps it's telling us that this is an infinity sign. This is an infinity sign. So it's telling us the journey is not one way. It is continuous. We're always learning. We're never completely aware, but we do need to share what we do learn. Otherwise, what's the point? So, I'm going to put that out there for you. You'll notice on the table in front of him that there are 4 things laid out. There's the cups, the pentacles, there's a pentacle, there's a wand, and there's a sword. And you're going to see not only those things in the minor arcana, the 4 ways of looking at it, but you're going to see this Lemnas Gate as well. And you're going to see it, for instance, I think it's the 2 of, is it the 2 of coins, where the guy is like, I got to balance out the problems that I'm having. Okay. So you will see these patterns within other cards that are in this. Look at the red. The red is very root chakra, okay? And the yellow is very gut chakra. So, if you were just looking at that, and look at all the flourishing plants that are around. So we have what's in front of us, right in the table in front of us. And we're asking to have the knowledge come down to the earthly plane so that we can understand it in this very first card. So that's probably what most of you already know about this anyway. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about what the Magician represents. In an archetype, he is the knower and the creator of worlds. So it could be her too. I want to say he, she. And that person has been known by many, many different names. Could be a shaman, could be a sage, could be a prophet, a wise elder, a wizard, a knower, a seer, a holy man, or an alchemist. All of these words are interchangeable with the Magician. And I want you to realize that, because it shows you that the traditions, all our learning comes from different traditions, but different traditions meet in the middle, so to speak. So they come together here, and you're finding out that the Magician is also named these other things. Okay. He is his synonyms or words to describe or the Magician would be a wise and thoughtful, reflective person, a healer, a contemplative person, and one that transforms himself or herself continuously. We'd all love to be the magician, wouldn't we? We'd all love to take that information and not just sit with it, but do something with it. Take it out there and share it with other people. He can manipulate the elements, and his primary job is to contain and channel power for the good of all of us. So he's got a big responsibility. He's got a big responsibility. He's trying to only channel the good things and to show us the things we need to see and the things we need to know. But we have to use discernment, and we have to make those alchemy decisions of how it's going to impact or affect our own lives. Examples from life, as I brought up earlier, or films. You've seen it in Yoda. Yoda's the wise little guy in Star Wars. We've seen Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. And we also have two men that are named magicians, so to speak, and they are Einstein and Tesla, because of the things that they were able to command. They could command the elements. When you can make something and bring in something that from energy that has before not been seen, that's magical. So that's a very important thing. They usually have a mentor or a supernatural aid. In the Native Americans, a shaman or a medicine man is always in a tribe, and they're the spiritual leaders of the tribe, and you go to them for your sustenance or your spiritual awakening, journeying, whatever. Currently, we are dealing with, and I think it's changing, this is the beauty of it, we were dealing with a lack of ritual elders. Now you can see that there's a lot of us on YouTube that are ritual elders. We're bringing back the stories. We're bringing back the information, bringing back that information and sharing it out there to the big world. It doesn't matter who sees it. It doesn't matter if one person sees it. If one person sees it and can grow their own way from that, and none of these wise elders wish to be deified or gurued or any of that. They just are teachers, and they're offering what they have, and they also listen to what you want to say back to them. Nothing is ever concrete. You have to know that all things change. Everything vibrates. Everything changes all of the time, even if we don't want it to. So this particular information that I found also stated that any woman tapping into her cognitive intelligence is also a magician, because I don't want you to think we gals aren't. We are. And we are bringing back that wise elder. There are still people reticent to listen to older people because, there's a pain in the neck and they always talk to me too much and blah, blah, blah. I think people are listening now. I am listening to all my elders. And I'm also listening to those younger than me that may have more experience or may be able to teach me something that I didn't know before, but they do. So it's all a big share. It's like this big, they say now that we don't have a melting pot here in the United States. It's a tossed salad. It's not a melting pot. A melting pot means we all have to come together with everything. A tossed salad means there's different ingredients in there depending on what you like. You can pick and choose. Don't you love that? I love that. The magician is the initiate of hidden knowledge of all varieties. One usually spends all time, focus, and energy to become a master at something. The people seek the magician's counsel for resolution. In other words, I've been doing this. What am I doing wrong? How can I do better? I'm seeking you out because you have some of the knowledge that I need. And the teacher says, I was ready for you. And this is what I can help you with, but I can't tell you what to do. I can only give you some tips. I can only listen and give you some of my advice, perhaps, but the choice is always yours, never anybody else's. If you tackle and access the energy of the magician, you will come to use more discernment in your life. And discernment is one of those words. What do you mean by that? Discernment is fabulous. It can help you have your inner bullshit detector come out so that if somebody tells you a tall tale, You know it's a tall tale. It helps you to ground yourself. It helps you because you need to ground yourself to feel this energy, and you will be able to discern what is right for you while you're doing this. If it's right for you to do Reiki, that's fine. If it's right for you to do Jinjitsu, that's fine. If it's right for you to do acupuncture, that's fine. It doesn't have to come from one source ever. It's always open. There is no panacea, but we are connected to the whole, and the magician's there to help us along. So ground yourself, find your center. Remember, it's usually somewhere in the core, right here in the solar plexus. Stand as though you were a tree, or sit as though you were a tree, with your branches feeling very stately and your head up. Reclaim your power and your inner gold. When you're thinking about gold coming down into you, remember to claim that. And the other night on a show I did with the mediums, Terry says, I always think of the chakra being green in the heart, but there's always a gold nugget. And I love that explanation. So as you can see, sharing things and bringing those things to the attention of other people are always welcome. Okay. Then you connect with your emotional body. Your emotional body is the one that makes quick decisions, and sometimes they're wrong. You need to use discernment. You need to go in. And if discernment means that you need a pendulum, then get a pendulum. It's not going to hurt you. They don't have any terrible voodoo hoaxes or whatever on them. They're just a piece of stone. And the way that you will use them will answer your questions for you, mostly yes or no. Cultivate your own leadership and be very self-aware that whatever it is that you're presenting is being listened to and being either negated or accepted, or at least critically thought about. That's all that's ever asked. Nobody ever wants to have somebody say, you must do this, you must do that. If anybody tells you you have to do anything, then you need to walk away. You need to use discernment. You don't need to be told what to do by anybody. Use your imagination, talk to your archetypes, accept responsibility for whatever you see in your outer world. Your outer world comes from your inner world. And so you must take responsibility. Sometimes it's hard to. Who wants to take it for the bad stuff? Probably not many of us. We do need to take that responsibility. We do. We can't shirk it. It doesn't just go away. And confront your shadow. Look in the mirror. Be honest with yourself. Say, I'm not very nice to you very often. Self, I beat you up more than I beat up anybody else. And there's no reason for it. I should be kind and love you because you're the most important person in my life. If it wasn't me, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be carrying your soul, the vessel for carrying your soul. Take care of me, love me. All of those things, they're all very, very necessary, and certainly what the magician would want you to do. So let me know in your comments if you like this. I'll continue on with some other cards and talk about them. If you don't agree with anything, or you have some information that I didn't have to share, then share it with me. This is how I learn, and you know that I'm always open to that. So have a great day. I love you guys. Bye-bye.